A huge storm has been moving across much of the country.
Of Iceland. Right now, there is another massive snowstorm.
To take these blizzard warnings seriously.
The coast bracing for winds of hurricane force.
Iceland was bringing with it freezing temperatures.
The Icelandic experience.
Life-threatening cold.
Please remain home and remain off the roads.
You learn from Iceland.
The winds will be the worst.
Strong gusty winds, near zero
An
visibility.
extreme blast of winter weather.
Freezing fog.
The 75 miles an hour and the power now a real concern.
Temperatures drop to around zero.
Extreme snowfall.
Slippery, snow-covered roads.
In Iceland, it is just
True storm gets underway into the overnight, the worst conditions.
Got that blast of cold air hitting so much of the country right now.
I've been doing this for the last 10 years and been to some of the most remote, extreme places in the world. In 2014, I took my team to Iceland, but the truth is, I didn't have a plan. I knew it was gonna be cold, and I knew it was gonna be hard. Over the years, I could feel the passion for my work fading. There was something about Iceland that inspired me. I didn't know if it was going to be the right thing or give me the answers I needed, but I was desperate. So I went.
So right now it's -2 Celsius. So we were filming by the waterfall and I went back to my camera, let it down for a couple of minutes. And the camera, because of the sprinkling from the water, it had actually completely frozen over. So I couldn't even spin the dial on my camera. So this is the coldest condition we've actually ever filmed in Iceland. We're the northern part of it, so we're really close, or the closest we can get to the North Pole.
This group, everybody's excited to see new things, and everybody wants to work 110%. So we've been up every single night, searching for northern lights, and up every morning searching for the sun. It's been like non-stop, but the reward is in that journey.
Before I came here, I actually Googled aerial video Iceland, and there's very few results for that because I think it's just a brutal place to shoot.
Here's the thing, we're shooting on the Red Dragon, we're shooting on the Phantom Miro, we're shooting on 4 DSLRs and GoPros. We probably have 10 cards that we go through every day, and throughout the day, if I don't want to be up the entire night, I have to be dumping footage constantly.
I think there's a lot of people out there who would like to work with Devin, but I don't think there's a lot of people out there who actually could or would be able to in the long haul because it's difficult.
Iceland is just, it's amazing, it really is. It's a really rough country with amazing light, but you kind of never really know what you're going to get unless you do a lot of homework. And that's why I kind of joined this group, to kind of find out the right moments, the right timing and stuff like that.
The only time I hear people pretend like they're gonna cuss is when he's about to crash his helicopter.
I came here to fly, so we'll have to see what happens. If I crash this, it's kind of like when the ship goes down, the captain goes down with it. Hey, lower! Look down? No, should I go down lower? Down lower! Okay, am I gonna hit? Okay, ready? Here we go, here we go!
We're gonna hit!
That's intense! That is so intense!
So we haven't slept in at least 72 hours. That's kind of what I expected when going on a trip with Devin Graham. We've been setting up helis and drones and steady cams and everything you can imagine in -7-degree weather. Everything's freezing, tripods are frozen, fingers are frozen, toes are frozen, but we couldn't be more psyched. Basically exactly what we were hoping for.
Need no place to rest. Our offering burning heads. Back when the air was fresh and we were good for life.
Devin reached out to me because he had worked with a friend of mine. She had told him that I had been to Iceland a bunch of times and he was wanting to do a project here, so he reached out just to get a little bit of information, and we talked back and forth. We tried to set him up with as much info as I could, and eventually I just told him, I said, hey, it might be easier if I could just come. I mean, I don't know if you have the budget, but I'd love to come with you guys. And he's like, yeah, come on. So I was excited to have an opportunity to come back, because any moment you're here is pretty much one of the coolest trips you could ever do. And I've never, ever once been able to look at a picture that I've shot and not remember the place, the feeling, the smell, the taste. And if I was freezing cold or if I was blistering with sweat. And I guess in the end, all we're really aiming to do is create images that are going to be around longer than we are. I've traveled all over the world and I've been to a lot of places, and there's only a few places that I've ever wanted to go back to. In Iceland, I've been 12 times. I've been drawn here. There's a sense of feeling alive that you get in a place that's so active. You see these landscapes and you just tell that they're forming right before your eyes in a way. It doesn't really matter where you are in this country, like you're seeing and engaging with nature in a really special way.
We were just kids. We were just kids. It is what it is. We were good for life. We were just kids.
We went to get them gas, and as I was filling their tank, they literally fell asleep. He's like, Parker, how was your trip so far?
Pretty good. Awesome. I've been drinking cocoa smoke. Cocoa milk. Duh. Joke. Joke.
Okay, now how do you say the mountain that's easy for to pronounce?
Eyjafjallajökull.
Eyjafjallajökull. Was that good? How do you say the whole thing?
Let's see if you just do AF first.
You guys pronounce it. Parker, do it.
This isn't about me, man.
Try it.
I got better.
You can't be worse than Devin.
What is it again? Eyjafjallajökull.
Nico, you were telling me that when you heard that we slept in our cars the first day, you're like, okay, these guys are okay.
Yeah,
Can you tell us that story really fast?
So the plan was to meet the crew. I know it's like bad weather coming in. I didn't know where you guys went. You don't know what kind of cars you're driving. If you drive somewhere and stay there for a while and it snows and snows and snows in the meantime, you could be stuck there. And you actually slept like the first night in the car. I was like, oh, that's gonna be cold. But okay, I like their attitude. Every time I was doing glacier tours for the Arctic and I do it myself, I always check out what's going on with volcanoes. Yeah. If there's a lot of tremors, I think about it, or at least keep a sharp eye out, and you don't really get any notice. You have 15 minutes to get away before it breaks away, you're like half an hour away from the car. Iceland still in the making, so there's something stirring here.
what I do for work. Like, I just don't want to go to places that there's tons of other people shooting. I get like anxiety. I like to be places where there's solitude. I feel like, you know, this is like therapeutic. You know, we walk on the beach, the only footprints there are yours.
How do you feel about Iceland becoming a huge tourist attraction?
It's scary because every one of us plays a part in that. There's a little bit of it that needs to be developed to preserve it, but at the same time, hopefully it won't get too developed to where it's like, you know, the national parks in the States where you're like paying a fine and you're like driving this road and you feel like you're on like a roller coaster even though you're in your own car.
So how do you guys feel about the fact that we're here trying to expose your island and potentially going to be getting millions of people for the first time seeing what your island is like and being attracted to it and wanting to come and explore it?
It's good in many ways. I mean, especially what I like about your project is it's in wintertime. For many people that live in the country, this is like a huge thing. They live on this.
Yeah,
they
like the farmer here who owns these cabins, like it's good for him to get people
I mean, they're
in the wintertime.
They like getting extra people in winter off season for them it makes a big difference.
If there's no problems on set, it's not memorable. And we want to have problems on set. Problem with helicopters is, look right here, there's so many wires, so a lot of things could be confusing. Good thing for us, Chris Newman knows a lot about RC helicopters. He built this himself, but you have to have so many factors go right in order for this to actually work. One of those being wind. Earlier this morning we were gonna fly it, but it was too windy, so we couldn't fly it at all. Now what's happening is the gimbal won't turn on, and then you have all these wires and all these other contraptions, so there's so many other things, so many other variables, and when you take the Scarlet, in this case, the Red Scarlet, which is the $10,000 camera, plus the lens and everything else. I mean, it's a pretty big setup, and if something does go wrong, we're in trouble. Chris is actually the best pilot I know, and this kind of technology is very new technology. So it's still being developed, it's constantly changing. I mean, Chris, as I say, he built this, he assembled it together.
Put that back up, please. You just ruined my landing. I don't care if you're flying. Just don't crash.
So my phone is literally constantly going off. I remember a couple months back, it was going off so much that I couldn't take it anymore. So I had to throw my phone against the ground because like I'm done dealing with my phone. And then I went like 2 weeks without it, and then everyone always had to like kind of relay messages. So I just felt bad for everybody else. I got to the point where technology was basically taking over my life, where I wasn't doing what I was passionate about because I was spending half the time on the phone working out projects and deals and all that kind of stuff. So for me, coming to Iceland, I get away from all my cell phones and all that technology where my phone's going off constantly, and I can just be out here in nature and do the things that I love.
just think it's funny how, you know, each one of us could be sitting at desk jobs right now and pursuing a life that would suffice our needs, but I don't think it would ever leave us inspired or passionate about what we're doing. But I think that because we felt a greater purpose, we all kind of pursued something that has high risk, but in the end, the reward is so great. And I think that's what brought us here, and that's what brought us together, to just explore kind of this beauty that we all appreciate. Before I was ever a professional photographer or making any money, I just told myself while I was working at some dead-end job, like at a magazine store down by the beach, I was like, I'm gonna give 5 years of my life to photography, whether I make it or not, and I don't care if I'm shooting pictures of dogs or family portraits. I want to do this for a living. The more I put into it, the more it gave back to me, and I was able to make a career out of it. You know, I feel grateful every single day. For me, it's like therapy. To be able to photograph and be in nature, you know, that's kind of, I think, everything you could ever ask for in life, is to be satisfied and inspire others to want to do the same things and have the same feelings. For me, like, mixing my time between work that inspires me, that's what fuels me to like go all year and do what I need to in my life, and any opportunity to work with other people that are creative, like that's the goal, you know, like you want to surround yourself by people you can feed off of, and people whose energy you like and love, and people whose work that inspires you. And these are the only photos I care about in my portfolio, you know, the ones that I had to earn. I can remember a couple times like being in the water in like crazy cold water and just feeling like my entire body's like physically shutting down. Like the hardest shots that I ever get aren't necessarily the ones where it's like technically hard, because that's just not the way I shoot, but it's more like physically demanding. Like last night, standing out in negative weather, just freezing, shooting a 30-minute exposure, holding your camera so it's not shaking because the winds are 30 miles an hour, and you're suffering for your craft. And I think that there's a beauty to that comes from those who do it, because they know and they have value, real value to those images, because they've had to sit through the freezing cold temperatures or the hot winds or the, you know, big surf or whatever it is. And to me, like, those are the ones that make that mean the most.
Hey Devin, did you try some of the new cocoa majoke?
I didn't, but I love to try some. They're the best, and they're no joke.
That's no joke, and you're right, cocoa majoke.
It's another epic day in Weird Iceland. It's also Chris Burkard's birthday. Surprise him and make him look awkward cake.
It's a good looking cake.
Yeah, it's a huge one, huh?
Yeah, it is. I don't know if you're gonna be able to fit all those candles on there.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
That was magical.
This one's for us. It's time to live it up. This time enough. This time we hit the top. Too many mornings, too cold to be apart. We're making something, but we don't need a lot. Fly away to your little island, your paradise waters. Fly away to a place we are alone. Color it on our own.
Oh man, ever since I've been coming here, I've always jumped in the ice lake in board shorts. It's like one of my favorite things to do. Nordic tradition is to jump in the sea and then warm themselves by a fire in a sauna, and I love putting my body through that shock. It's maybe one of the funnest things you can do. Couldn't ask for a better way to celebrate my birthday. I figured if I don't do this, I'll bring some bad voodoo on myself, so I just feel obligated. The bummer thing is that today just so happens to be like really windy, which makes it really cold. But the funny thing is, as soon as you jump in, usually you get super hot because all the blood's just rushing through your body. And then as soon as you're like make it to shore, you're just frozen. It feels like you have peg legs and peg arms, you know, all your extremities are useless.
Calm me down when you exhale into my lungs. I'll breathe you in and breathe you Lay me down in the wilderness, where the earth moves beneath my feet. In the wild, in the wild, in the wilderness. In the wild, in the wild, in the wilderness.
It's way shallow. Yeah. Super shallow. You guys submerged.
What was the best part of your birthday? That'd probably be tomorrow when the sun popped out in the ice cave and everything got golden and Ingo yelled, "There comes the honey light." And I looked up and all the cave was like glowing orange and like crazy colors. It looked like some type of a kaleidoscope you looked through as a kid. It was like one of the most surreal things you could ever see.
There's a storm coming in, so we're gonna get trapped in here. We already planned on getting trapped in here and maybe eating each other.
I'm gonna go for it a little bit and try and like rock off of this thing and then back up and then we can push.
Okay. I'm surprised Devin isn't calling for an aerial shot right now.
All right.
Is everyone okay though?
No, we lost 3 or 4 guys. We just left them. I didn't really know what else to do. I think some of them are still breathing, but we figured that wouldn't last long.
Got some issues with my gimbal. We got black sand in it, and now it doesn't want to turn. That one won't even move.
Is that fixable?
I'll have to, I don't know.
Devin usually films with the Red, Jace usually films with his iPhone.
It's not about the equipment, Parker. Can you move so I get this shot?
This is how I shoot BTS. This is what sets me apart from the rest of them.
From the other BTS champs. Okay,
ready?
Yeah.
Go. It's all about the low angle. You'd be surprised, but people think I use a glide cam. I use my butt.
You use butt for a lot of things. There's water on the lens now, I can see it. Yeah, come back. Yeah, come back. Really low, ready? How's that look? Good. There's water on the lens, so let's have it land and clean off the lens. Correct. Because people have no idea that death is just 10 feet above their heads. Let's give Chris a round of applause! Hey, Chris is back in the game!
Freezing and like all my joints hurt and like every time I go to bed I wake up in the middle of the night and my whole body just aches because it has been extremely cold out here and we're out till 3-4 o'clock in the morning. And even driving now the roads are covered in ice, so I'm just like hopefully praying that nothing goes wrong. We have to get to our next destination before it freezes. Then they close all our roads down because it gets too dangerous. The place we just stayed at, actually last night we found out a couple of years ago a huge snowstorm came in and it killed like 150 sheep and that came completely unexpected. I guess it was all over the news there, so I mean It's definitely completely different terrain than what we're used to. And I'm like so tense right now. I'm just like holding onto the wheel. It's trying to like, okay, this is the part that gets scary because
it's gone. You can see the lights blinking. That's
I can
it.
see 4 feet in front of me. My body literally hurts from being tense with the wheel. So Chris, I'm thinking the next shot we get after this is we get the helicopter shot.
He's actually getting it ready right now. I'm gonna put the dragon on there. And also the Phantom at the same time, taped together with some gas.
You don't fly helicopters under it.
Hey, Parker. Hey, buddy, it's time to get up.
This is how we wake up the crew.
It's weird. I'll admit, it's really weird. Maybe we'll just leave him there. That's actually more convenient for us.
You guys snore so loud.
Oh my gosh, Devin, last night, I honestly...
some video of it.
I thought for sure you had to be doing that on purpose.
He is snoring so loud, his bed starts vibrating, and he wakes himself up and says, were you guys vibrating my bed? He woke himself up because his loud snore was vibrating his own bed, and then blamed it on us.
No sense in getting too excited, horses. Let's back up. Let's back up. Back up. I got attacked by horses today. Horses, let's just chill. No.
Can we take it from here?
No, this is the only thing I have as a weapon.
You don't have to just guess. So let's blow it out and then we'll bring it back down a little bit. Get it all set up.
We're trying to show off the country of Iceland, how pretty it is. At the same time, for me, it's kind of a magical place. And I want to come back a couple years from now and just have tourists everywhere. Like most areas we've gone are completely remote. We don't see any tourists because it's so hard to get there. But that's going to change after we create these kind of content. So it's kind of a trade-off. Like, do we want to expose these countries because they are magical and keep them in their form as far as undiscovered? But at the same time, I feel like we do have a mission to show the world as it is and the beauty that it has, and show people stuff they'll never see before. Because realistically, even though we do show off Iceland, that doesn't mean that everyone gets to come and experience it for themselves, so we can actually show that and expose that to the rest of the world. As it does become overpopulated with all these tourists, the magic of it and then the roots of that. I mean, it's the same thing with the horses here, is they've kept only Icelandic horses, so it's been true to how it was in its purest form. But once we start bringing all these other tourists and different horses and stuff like that, then all of a sudden, it will never be the same again. Yeah. Okay. And then I think. Look. Don't do that. Why is that funny? It's gonna be on my conscience that I'm done making movies if one of you guys die today.
I'll wear the crown and take the lead. We're bandits tonight with thick as thieves. Climb to the top of the mountains. We'll race to the rivers and jump in. We're raising our torches and fighting the demons. Darling, don't look down. Send me out on the water. Spread my wings and learn to fly. Make me heaven's finest daughter. Write my name across the sky, and all the stars will dance around us. Our hearts will beat as one. Won't you fly me to the sun?
Another beautiful day. Same location we were at yesterday. It looked like summer yesterday. Now today it's like a blizzard.
I feel like this has become home for me. I'm always going to be comparing any place I go to Iceland from now on. I'm afraid I'm probably a bit spoiled by coming here.
No, we went to a spot and Devin says, okay, we're probably gonna be here about an hour. But once we all get out and start shooting, and plus this place is just gorgeous. We didn't stop for anything.
Including lunch?
Including lunch, we skipped right through lunch. We probably shot, I don't know, 700 gigs today.
I can't walk any further because I'm sunburned, but it's actually not sunburn. It looks like one, but it's from the wind. We've been hit so hard from the wind all day today. Once you start filming, at least for me, I get in that mode where I don't want to stop because it's like I don't want to miss good light. So we just literally kept on filming and kept on filming and we kept on filming and hoping the wind would die, but that didn't happen. Like the end of the day, it was like kind of murky, but it was like, hey, it's murky, this isn't ideal, but actually let's set the tone. There's a lot of murky things in this area, so there's a kind of an old ship that had been kind of washed away, so we embraced that and did a lot of really cool slow motion stuff. Walking by myself and just hearing the wind and looking all around me, there was no cars or any civilization except for a couple little houses, and it just made me really grateful for what I do for a living.
I hope you're enjoying every moment of your adventure and not taking it for granted. You're living a life that every person at this school and probably the world dreams of living. Remember that. We sit in classrooms dreaming about how we can get out there and travel and make a difference in the world, and you actually get to do it. You should be praying in gratitude every minute of every day for the opportunities you've been given, because honestly, everyone else in the world wishes they could do that.
I get to travel to all these amazing locations and experience it firsthand, and I just get to be out there. And there's something magical for me being out there and having no people or no civilization around you, because I feel for me that's when I can start thinking what I'm passionate about. I don't have any distractions with cell phones and all these other things, so I can just kind of see the world as it is. We'll film all day, get home at night, and we spend now an hour plugging in and rearranging everything. Jason's busy cleaning lenses. Chris is there figuring out how to make the drone work again because something went wrong.
I'm surprised none of us have gotten sick yet this trip.
I'm starting to get sick.
You are?
Couldn't sleep last night, really sore throat, got really sick all day, no energy, didn't eat.
Well, why are you even doing what you're doing then?
Because I love it.
Well, it's weird for me because I get tired too, but I feel when I go on any trip, I get like super endorphined up as far as I go just because I love it. And it's like I get stoked and it's like, oh, I don't want to, like I'll go without eating, without sleeping because I get so stoked and so excited about what we're filming. I'm like, I know we're only going to be here for a couple of weeks, so I have to take advantage of it completely, and I don't want to have any regrets until after the trip's over with.
Has anybody seen my shower cap anywhere?
I have not.
Did you check the shower? Right?
I got a nice little window hole back here. Covered the mic, the body.
But it's going to get colder and colder. So this evening is going to be -6 up to then later -12 degrees Celsius.
We're on the Black Beach. So what Iceland's been like most of the time we've been here. 30 mile an hour wind, raining and snowing all the time. Let's go on the beach, there's a lot more wind. Sketchy right now. These waves can come up and down. So we have our buddy here, he's gonna warn us if it gets too bad.
My car to get the GoPro, so if you guys can hear me, wait, the walkie-talkie's in here. Both of them awkward. I got it. Woohoo! That's what I call magic.
Just gonna get that over.
Okay, we'll get this one good and then we'll move on.
Yep,
Yeah.
no worries.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, the wind is 20 meters per second plus, and it goes up to 37 meters, which is ridiculously windy. So I just want to give you a heads up, drive really slowly and really hold on to the wheel.
I'm actually like exhausted from holding the steering wheel to the right.
Yeah, me too, that's a workout for sure.
I just feel back home, it's like if it's not a windy day, it's not a windy day.
When we were at the iceberg lake thing, it was super windy, then it died down for like half an hour for us to get our shots, and then it picked back up again.
8 o'clock, so we haven't slept for what, 48 hours? It's been 2 days. I'm gonna sleep. I don't know how much longer we have to live. We drove, basically didn't sleep all night, and then we drove all day through the rain and snow and sleet and every other condition you could imagine.
We're on the hunt for the Northern Lights, so they literally will come up. Sometimes they'll last for a couple hours, and they can come in any time of the night.
And in Iceland too, everything's so like vibrant and beautiful, and the sun sets, and all of a sudden everything goes dark, and then the sky lights up with color. You don't even think you're on this planet.
we're going home. And tomorrow I go back into that world and then my phone will be ringing constantly. And I mean, I go from this to this amazing, beautiful scenery where I can just be out there and think to myself, and then I go back to distractions in the real world. And sometimes I wish I could just be a simple life and have a little teeny farm and a couple cows and a chicken. And I mean, this trip was a huge risk, biggest one financially I've ever had to take. I guess as long as you're evolving and progressing forward, regardless if things don't go as ideal, I think that's still a really good place to be.
I think we saw like in what 12, 13 days what people do in a month. So yeah, Icelandic weather is like you don't find it in many other places in the world. It changes really fast and really need to keep an eye out, even in summertime, especially in winter. You need to do a little bit of homework before you get into trouble. Usually people that get in trouble, like tourists, because people don't do the homework, don't talk to the locals, just wander off on a nice sunny day, but didn't know that there's a storm coming in 4 hours. That's not a good thing.
Going to Iceland in the wintertime, it's not easy. But capturing beauty in a place and time that's known for its darkness and harsh weather conditions, I mean, as Chris said, the reward is in that journey. Ultimately, I realized that I didn't care how hard it was or how cold I was. It wasn't going to stop me from showing these incredible places to the world in a way they've never seen before. I don't think I realized how much passion I had for filmmaking, for what I was doing, until I was confronted with so many challenges that stood in the way. In the end, it reminded me of why I fight for my passion, why I work so hard to get these shots, and why I chase the light.
The woods are quiet in this part of town. The winds are changing as the leaves fall down. Don't let it take you off of solid ground. We're steady moving, we don't hear a sound. The woods are silent, we are all alone. The trees surrounding us will be our home.